Welcome to Kansas Ag Report. I'm Ken Rogers. On this week's program, another round of Ag in the Courtroom with Dr. Roger McEowen from the Washburn School of Law. We also have updates from Kansas corn, Kansas wheat, and the Kansas Farm Bureau, along with a weekly update from the Kansas Livestock Association and market information from Pinion, a division of K-Coe Isom.
Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, Progress powered by Kansas farmers. Kansas Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farm and ranch families since 1919, kfb.org. And the Kansas Wheat Commission, lending in the adoption of profitable innovations from wheat, online at kswheat.com.
In agriculture news from agview.net, USDA will not open Conservation Reserve Program acres for crop production. In a letter to the National Grain and Feed Association, Ag Secretary Vilsack said quickly converting the land to crop production is clearly unfeasible. He notes that most acres enrolled in CRP are largely non-prime farmland. The letter comes as some lawmakers want to open CRP acres to offset global food worries stemming from the Russia-Ukraine war. There were a couple of Republican senators that penned their own letter to Vilsack requesting that action as well. They urged Vilsack to allow flexibilities for prime agricultural lands under the Conservation Reserve Program. The senators wrote, allowing crop production on CRP lands is a critical step to stabilizing food prices that have skyrocketed in recent months. But Vilsack said that only 1.3% of CRP acres are considered to be prime farmland. Well, global grain markets have been managing through a period of extreme price volatility following the Russian military invasion of Ukraine, a situation that was reignited the grain price rally we saw in 2020 into 2021. The Black Sea region, a major producer and exporter of wheat, in addition to being a critically important hub for global agriculture commodities. Now, regardless of when that war ends, the impact on global grain trade will reverberate from some time as markets continually assess the real and perceived grain supply shortages, then readjust some of those risk premiums. Those words from a new report out from CoBank's Knowledge Exchange Division. The conflict, they say, will negatively affect global grain flows for at least 2 crop years and likely longer. Kenneth Scott Zuckerberg is the lead grain and farm supply economist with CoBank. He says grain prices will remain elevated and volatile for the foreseeable future. He said it's an environment that will require U.S. grain cooperatives and exporters to maintain high capital levels and excess liquidity to fund operational and risk management activities. Russia and Ukraine account for 14% of global wheat production and 29% of global wheat exports based on a trailing 5-year average. Now, while the two nations produce only 4% of global corn supplies, they account for 17% of global exports. And that war comes at a particularly tenuous time for Ukraine, given its normal planting calendar. It creates a risk for crop production and grain exports from the country. And a pair of U.S. House lawmakers have recently introduced legislation to help address the current truck driver shortage in the U.S. In 2021, American trucking companies experienced a record deficit of about 80,000 drivers due to some hiring and retention challenges. These bipartisan strengthening supply chains through Truck Driver Incentives Act would create a 2-year refundable tax credit up to $7,500 for truck drivers holding a valid Class A commercial driver's license who drive at least 1,900 hours in the year. The legislation would also create a refundable tax credit for up to $10,000 for a new truck driver or individuals enrolled in a registered trucking apprenticeship. Find more ag news at agview.net. We'll be back in just a moment.
Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by Kansas Grain Sorghum, growers working together. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. grassandgrain.com.
Grain sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. Over the years, sorghum has been either exported, used in animal feed domestically, or for other industrial uses. Recently, its use in the ethanol market has seen tremendous growth, with 30% of domestic sorghum typically going to ethanol production. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org.
And joining us is Dr. Roger McEowen from the Washburn School of Law. He is an ag law and tax specialist. And once again, our weekly conversation. Dr. McEowen, good morning.
Good morning, Ken. Good to be with you.
As always, there are a number of things to talk about in a short amount of time, so let's get right to it. One that we've all been watching is this situation with Proposition 12 out in California, and after seemingly weeks of discussion, the Supreme Court decided to take it up.
Yeah, the United States Supreme Court has decided to hear this case. It's kind of been sitting there with them for a while, but this is really a very important issue for agriculture, because here you have a state that passed a law that took effect at the beginning of this year that says for product that we don't produce in our state, we're going to set all the rules as to how that product is produced everywhere else if you want to sell into our market. And what I'm talking about is pork in particular. The law is broader than just applied to pork, but that's the subject of the lawsuit is pork and pork products. California virtually produces no pork at all. But that market is 13% of all U.S. consumption of pork products. But here they set a law that says if you're going to sell in our state, then you have to raise hogs in situations where the cages or the containment situations that they're in, they can get up, they can turn around without touching any of the walls, and so forth. Well, there's virtually no pork production in the United States that satisfies the current California rules. Or this new rule under Proposition 12. The current production is not set up that way. So all of the costs on this would be imposed outside of the state of California if you want access to the market. The question is whether that's constitutional or not. Can you have a law with such an extreme, what's called extraterritorial effect, and have it be constitutional? That's the issue before the court.
Well, I think everybody's realizing it because the impact it could have on future pork production, because as you said, with the percentage that they consume, and only that, then where's it go next?
Yeah, all ag products would be potentially subject to this type of legislation. In fact, I was asked to write on behalf of a U.S. congressman a number of years ago, a provision that would prevent a state from doing this and have it included in the Farm Bill. Now that got cut out of the Farm Bill, but you can see the problem. If California is able to do this, who says that another state can't pick on a product that they don't raise, but Kansas does? And say you have to raise it according to our standards. But really, these kind of rules should be set by the politicians elected by the voters that are then going to be subject to those rules. And here California is picking on production that will occur elsewhere to be able to sell into their market. And so it's got some real constitutional questions to it. It'll be interesting to see what the Supreme Court says.
Will this be taken up in this year then? Was that what that means, or is it just kind of on that docket when they find a day?
This is marked for the October term of the court, so we won't see anything happen until the court reconvenes in October. I suspect we won't see a decision by the end of this calendar year, probably early next year.
Dr. Roger McEowen from the Washburn School of Law is joining us for our monthly conversation. Let's take a break, come back with more in just a moment.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the soybean checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
Many seed companies claim to offer the latest genetics, but how many have tested those genetics in soils just like yours? The Oldie Seed Know to Grow research program has fully tested the latest seed genetics in soils that are right in your neighborhood. The Oldie Seed Know to Grow program can recommend the best performing hybrids from technologies like Enlist, Extend, and LibertyLink that will optimize the yield and profit of every acre on your farm. Contact Oldie Seed today.
Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by the Kansas Livestock Association, supporting members' business interests and meeting consumer demands. KLA.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. And Kansas Corn, building the future at kansascorn.com.
Dr. Roger McEowen for the Washburn School of Law is joining us as we're talking about, again, ag in the courtroom, if you will. Dr. McEowen, another situation. This has to deal with meat labeling and what is constitutional and what's unconstitutional.
Yeah, we're talking about tofurkey here. Can't say I've ever seen what that is. It's a combination of turkey, obviously, and tofu, I guess. I'm not sure. But Louisiana passed a law, and it took effect October of 2020, and it's a truth in labeling of food products law. And what it says is if you're going to sell a product that's not meat, don't tell consumers that it is, and don't mislead them into thinking that it might be made of actual meat products from beef or whatever, from pork, whatever. So it is a truth in labeling law, and we had a company that markets these non-meat, so-called fake meat products in Louisiana and elsewhere. And they redid all of their labeling and all of their marketing so that they could still sell in Louisiana. And then they challenged the law constitutionally. And of course, they incurred a lot of costs to do that. And the Department of Ag in Louisiana said, well, all your labels are fine now. We're not taking any action against you. And in fact, they hadn't taken action against anybody, and they hadn't received any complaints. The challenge was that the state didn't choose the least restrictive means to accomplish its goal of avoiding consumer deception. And the court said, that's right, they didn't. They should have just required a disclaimer. If you just put a disclaimer on there saying, hey, this doesn't contain actual meat products, rather than having this detailed list of rules and $500 per product per day penalty, the court said it's unconstitutional because you didn't achieve your legitimate means, which the court said was avoiding consumer deception, by choosing the least restrictive manner. So they struck down that truth in labeling law on constitutional grounds.
Well, that's it seems with all these different alternatives that are out there, we got this pesky little thing called free speech, but just because that's there, sometimes there are consequences.
Well, there are, and there's a right way and a wrong way to regulate these types of things. And it is important to make sure consumers aren't deceived. It's also important to make sure that the state accomplishes that goal in the least restrictive manner that it can, so that these types of legitimate marketing techniques are not squelched.
There are a number of other topics we could talk about, and you do in your blog. So folks want to learn more about what we've just talked about and some other things. How can they do that?
That's just go to my homepage. It's washburnlaw.edu/Walter, WALTR. And then down that left side on the homepage, you can find the Ag Law and Taxation blog.
All right, Dr. McEowen, as always, appreciate the insights, and we'll talk with you next month.
Thank you, Ken.
Dr. Roger McEowen from the Washburn School of Law has joined us. Stay with us. We'll have more in just a moment.
What if sustainability were synonymous with U.S. soy? If energy efficiency, water quality, and soil health help define U.S. soy's value, that future is here, the time is now. To meet end-user demands, the Soybean Checkoff is committing to sustainability that's achievable, worthwhile, and enduring. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Hello, my name is Chris Remick. I am a Kansas corn lead teacher here. I'm from Garden City, Kansas. I'm in New Orleans right here at the 2022 Commodity Classic. You can see you've got some big stuff here behind us, right? So as teachers, we're coming in here to actually gain more knowledge and understanding about the profession, the industry, and agriculture in general, so we can bring that into the classroom here to get that into our kids. And we want to do as many hands-on, lab-based activities. We want to know what's going on in the fields right now and what farmers are doing, as well as scientists and researchers in the ag industry. And again, we want to bring this into our students. We want them to get excited about the future of agriculture here. So we've seen great things. We've seen how people use drone technology to survey and scout fields, which is a lab that we have developed to bring our teachers to get students out into the cornfields as well. We have seen really cool booths and industries in which they're monitoring nutrients in the soil moisture. These are really important, as well as how do we maximize the growth of our corn products, and as well as what can we do with those corn products. So we take all this industry, we meet so many new people in the industry, we keep those contacts, we use them to help develop these labs and activities for our students in here. And I believe we reached like 75,000 students doing it this way. So we have a great time doing it. We make great, awesome contacts, and it's just every year it just gets better and better, you know, for that.
Many seed companies claim to offer the latest genetics, but how many have tested those genetics in soils just like yours? The Oldie Seed Know to Grow research program has fully tested the latest seed genetics in soils that are right in your neighborhood. The Oldie Seed Know to Grow program can recommend the best performing hybrids from technologies like Enlist, Extend, and Liberty Link that will optimize the yield and profit of every acre on your farm. Contact Oldie Seed today.
The next variety of hard red winter wheat from Kansas State University has officially arrived. KS13DH0041-35. In 2014, the soybeans planted ahead of the wheat trials in Ashland were sprayed with what was supposed to be a routine herbicide, but the chemical was contaminated, which was extremely detrimental to wheat production the following year. But there was a saving grace. With just 47 hedgerows in the field from its population, a double haploid line survived the chemical application. Fritz kept just 3 of those 47 hedgerows from that population, in addition to other material from the Ashland location, to advance through the K-State breeding program. This upcoming variety has higher average yield compared to commercial checks tested over the past 3 years. Yield potential is at the very top end, beating Zenda by 10 bushels per acre over the last 2 years, and Bob Dole by 7 bushels per acre. The line is taller, but not Bob Dole tall, with excellent straw strength. The line also has excellent leaf rust resistance, good resistance to tan spot, and intermediate resistance to fusarium head blight and stripe rust. The upcoming variety has also performed well in a multitude of crop rotations in management styles, including planting after soybeans, as well as after corn, and in both conventional and no-till programs. The line is only intermediate on acid soils, so it is not a good fit for low pH soil. While no one can control the weather, the K-State Wheat Breeding Program, supported by a collaboration between K-State, the Kansas Wheat Commission, and the Kansas Wheat Alliance, works to set producers up for agronomic success. The funding from wheat farmers is used for the operation of the program, including staff time to plant and harvest more than 20,000 yield plots per year, equipment purchases and upkeep, and travel to plots like the one in Ashland. The partnership also supports the adoption of new technologies to decrease development time, like the double haploid process that produced this new variety. Combined, this work results in tested varieties that serve producers for years. Fritz compared this latest release to others from the K-State program that have led the state in production, quality, and acreage, including Overly, Fuller, Everest, and Bob Dole.
Grain sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. Over the years, sorghum has been either exported, used in animal feed domestically, or for other industrial uses. Recently, its use in the ethanol market has seen tremendous growth, with 30% of domestic sorghum typically going to ethanol production. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers, farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, cleaner American fuel. Message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Many seed companies claim to offer the latest genetics, but how many have tested those genetics in soils just like yours? The Oldie Seed Know to Grow research program has fully tested the latest seed genetics in soils that are right in your neighborhood. The Oldie Seed Know to Grow program can recommend the best performing hybrids from technologies like Enlist, Extend, and LibertyLink that will optimize the yield and profit of every acre on your farm. Contact Oldie Seed today.
Registration is open for the Stockmanship and Stewardship event that will be held June 16th through the 18th in Leavenworth. During the 3-day educational session, attendees can become certified in beef quality assurance, participate in hands-on demonstrations focused on low-stress cattle handling led by Stockmanship experts Kurt Pate and Ron Gill, receive updates on important industry issues, and network with fellow cattlemen and cattlewomen. According to Pate, this quality program combines age-old skills with modern practices to improve producers' bottom line and quality of life. For more than a decade, Pate has led demonstrations and clinics on stockmanship, colt starting, horsemanship, and safety. His abilities conducting both horsemanship and stockmanship demonstrations, along with his skill as an effective communicator, make him one of the most sought-after clinicians on both the national and international scene. Ron Gill has provided technical expertise to livestock producers in beef cattle nutrition, management, and livestock handling throughout his 20-year career as a Texas AgriLife Extension Specialist. Sought after as a national speaker, Gill's credibility is founded on his own ranch experience. To register for the Stockmanship and Stewardship event in Leavenworth or to find more detail about the schedule and hotel information, go to stockmanshipandstewardship.org. The program is sponsored by NCBA, Merck Animal Health, and the Beef Checkoff-funded National Beef Quality Assurance Program.
What if sustainability were synonymous with U.S. soy? If energy efficiency, water quality, and soil health help define U.S. soy's value, that future is here, the time is now. To meet end-user demands, the soybean checkoff is committing to sustainability that's achievable, worthwhile, and enduring. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Premier Farm and Home has what you need to make your lawn the best in the neighborhood.
Hi, I'm Ken. We choose Premier Farm and Home for the professional look that we do ourselves.
Feel free to stop in. You can also visit our website at heycow.com.
Good day. Mitch Stewart here with Pinion, a division of K-Coe Isom. On Thursday, March 31st, the USDA released a prospective plantings and quarterly stocks report. This report has been highly anticipated since last fall. The shift in acres from corn to beans was expected as input costs have soared. The big question was how much? The trade was expecting corn to come in around 92 million acres and soybeans at 88.7 million acres. The report had quite a pleasant surprise for the corn bulls as the corn acres came in at 89.49 million and soybeans came in at 90.46 million. As we'd expect from the numbers like these, we saw corn get a nice rally to the upside and soybeans back off for a couple days. The quarterly stock numbers came in close to the estimates. Over the past week, the trade has digested the USDA numbers and back to focusing on the current situation in Ukraine. The long-term consequences to Ukraine's grain production and ability to export is grim. Another trade headline has been South America's second crop corn production. The weather has been relatively cooperative and the total crop could be getting larger. The cash cattle market has been trading steady at 138 for some time now. Here, this past week, we saw live cattle futures sell off as traders expressed their concern for the current state of the economy and what a recession could do to the beef demand. Feeders also felt a week of heavy selling as the price of corn continues to increase. To discuss the markets, please give us a call here at 888-452-8751. I'm Mitch Stewart with Pinion, a division of K-Coe Isom.
That's our show this week. Be social with us at KansasAgReport.net or our social media channels. I'm Ken Rogers. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
Are you looking for Medicare supplement insurance plans? Now is a good time to look at your options with Kansas Farm Bureau Health Plans. A Medicare supplement insurance plan can help cover certain out-of-pocket expenses Medicare doesn't cover. Things like deductibles, co-insurance, and certain limitations that can be costly in the event of an accident or illness. With Kansas Farm Bureau Health Plans, you have options to Medicare supplement insurance plans with 4 levels of affordable coverage and service from an organization known for its commitment serving Kansans. We encourage you to compare our rates. For more information and to get a quote, contact a Farm Bureau Financial Services agent near you or visit kfbhealthplans.com. Medicare supplements insured by Members Health Insurance Company, Columbia, Tennessee. Not connected with or endorsed by the U.S. or state government.
Premier Farm and Home has what you need to make your lawn the best in the neighborhood.
Hi, I'm Ken. We choose Premier Farm and Home for the professional look that we do ourselves.
Feel free to stop in. You can also visit our website at heycow.com.